So Leinster's title defence got up and running in pretty emphatic and impressive fashion last weekend against Wasps, and I suppose the man of the match from that game and the headline act, Murray, as he tends to be when he's playing James Lowe. You were obviously at that game, box office on and off the pitch. I'm sure many people would have seen his press conference afterwards, where he's just as good value as he is on the pitch. He seems to be just loving life at Leinster at the moment. He's had a brilliant start to this season. Some of the stats are incredible. 16 tries in 18 games is his overall strike rate for Leinster. Some of his stats, again, from just that game in particular: 12 runs across 184 metres, 4 clean breaks, 8 defenders beaten, 2 tries. You can't really get better than that.
Yeah, very impressive stuff. Leo Cullen's talking about he's had a kind of off season now, having had a really long year last year, and you can see in his physical condition he's an incredible athlete. Like, he's so kind of densely muscled around the kind of thighs and hindquarters. It's quite incredible. He's so powerful in that area, and you can see that through contact. He's so balanced, even when he's like inches away from the touchline. He's really good at leaning in and using his fend, which is a really good skill actually. He's getting those big, strong, explosive fends. I think it's something we see in New Zealand rugby quite a bit. They work on it quite intently, and I think that's probably something that we can learn. It's such an important individual skill, I think, to be able to actually fend off a defender, buy yourself time for an offload, and actually beat players as well. His kicking game is obviously, he's got a massive left boot because of that power in his legs. It can be a little bit wayward at times, but because he's getting such distance on it, it's an incredible asset for Leinster as well. I think one of the things about him, like on and off the pitch, as you say there, he's this positive kind of presence, and it's a very contagious thing. Just yesterday I was listening to this guy Wade Gilbert talk. He's kind of coaching consultant. The RFU have had him in this week working with all the provinces, and he's talking about just in terms of culture, players being kind of like a virus, like really contagious around an environment, everyone kind of feeding off your habits and traits. And I think what he gives is a lot of that positivity. You're seeing it like Johnny Sexton, not a guy who gets overly giddy really, I don't think, on or off the pitch really, but he feels kind of giddy, I think, playing with James Lowe. He's really excited about being in the same team as him. He's already looking forward to 2020 when he's going to qualify for Ireland as well. So Lowe has had a massive impact in quite a short space of time already. And I think he's turning into quite a complete player. Even in the 67th minute, Leinster defending their line, they're already 35-3 up, and he makes a turnover hit on Juan de Jong. I think it was a little bit high maybe, but it just shows that he's buying into that side of the game as well, which is huge for Leinster. Johnny, I guess, is a back three player. He's a guy you would have probably enjoyed playing with.
Yeah, I think I just think it's his openness and honesty that kind of shows around both on and off the pitch. It's someone that's very comfortable in his skin, and he's he's one of the guys that when the ball goes to him, I'm sure everyone goes, okay, what's he going to do? And regardless of what he does, they're going to back him just because he is so open. And with that openness comes, in review meetings on a Monday or Tuesday, look, James, you probably, what about this option? You go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, no, I get it. And he's going to take everything on the chin. And I just think that, as you say, it's infectious and it breeds throughout the whole group. And I think I was going to mention the moment that you just mentioned, his big work on last year was probably his defensive frailties in terms of, kind of getting caught in between the space in between players and whether to shoot in or hold off. And I think that moment kind of shows the learnings that he's had over the last kind of 12 months since he arrived. And, he's discussed about his learning styles openly in the media, and I think everyone has kind of been refreshed by that, and I'm sure the coaching staff have taken that on board, and obviously he's done his work, and I just think he's just an incredible player and someone that the ball goes to and the crowd sparks, and that's only a good thing. But I do agree that those guys are infectious within the group, and the reason they're so infectious is because they're kind of standard bearers in how they carry themselves, but also the work ethic. And I think you'll probably find that he's probably one, because he's so energetic, that he leads extras in the gym. He leads extras in terms of passing. He leads extras in terms of everything. And he's going to be the one kind of throwing the jokes around and all that kind of stuff. So he's just obviously fantastic for an environment. But with that openness and honesty that he has, it's part of that culture that we've already spoke about. It's only a plus in an environment like that.
And Colin was kind of mentioning that he's been influential in terms of little kind of technical details as well. You mentioned the ruck earlier on, that kind of hit on suspicion. He's talking about every time I go to a ruck I want to completely rearrange it, and if your winger is bringing that mentality, that's again pretty infectious in everyone else. The other little cool thing he's doing is that little kind of release, pick up as he stands back up onto his feet and go again, and you're seeing everyone try that now. Jordan Larmour, everyone's learning off it. So yeah, everything he's doing is kind of influential on the players around him. Also, I'm just really happy that he's so entertaining off the pitch as well, because he's got a great attitude towards the media. He doesn't think that everyone's out to get him. He's very relaxed, very honest, open. He's talking about his car getting broken into. His mum texted him she was annoyed his post-match interview got cut off, and things like that just make Leinster very likeable.
And it's stuff at the moment I think that needs to be taken by the media in a positive, that there are a lot of guys in this day and age are struggle to have that openness with the journalists and the media in general, and I think that's something that needs to be taken into consideration. If there is a slip in something, that it's not taken and not ran with when there's actually no context to it. And he's going to do interviews that are very open, and someone can tilt something that he says in a different way, taken out of context. And I just think it's important that everyone and in the media, that they take his lead, that he is being who he is, and take him at that. Don't try and take him out of context. I know it hasn't happened, but I would just take that, because that's what everyone wants. They want to sit down, they want to have a conversation, and they want to read a paper and feel like they're actually in the room having a conversation with someone, or being able to sit down and have a coffee with someone. That's what they want. That's what when I sit down and I read something, if I read the first two paragraphs and someone's talking about, oh well, they were great and we were okay and a lot of work on, I don't read the article. It's just, that's media talk. I've been taught how to do it, so I understand where it's going to go. But when someone like him stands up and he's honest, you're like, okay. Like Joe Marler a couple of weeks ago, talking about his subconscious mind in terms of when he's going away with England, because he didn't he didn't enjoy the environment. He's away from his family, he's away from his kids, and he's like, maybe I was trying to get banned. And then there's this whole media frenzy that Joe Marler 2 weeks before he goes to play for England is trying to get red cards, and you're like,
we talked about it in fairness that week. I agree with you. I do agree with you.
And you're like, no, he was just actually being honest and actually speaking about what it means to him to be with his family and that kind of stuff. And that, I know now, to be fair, the English media are kind of different gravy to everyone else, but it is that that's something that does need to be taken into consideration, because that's what people want. They want, when you hear different journalists, you sit down and you go, oh, there was a nugget in there. Yeah, okay, we have it, and then everyone runs with it. But there's going to be 20 nuggets when you speak to James Lowe, because he's so honest.
That post-match interview was hard to fit everything into.
And that's great. It's brilliant. We want more informal conversations in this this PC world, where people can be not just pros, that he can be James Lowe. Robin Copeland's interview about identity, we've already spoke about, saying that I'm a professional, I'm really loving this environment because I didn't like Munster because of, not that he didn't like it, but I struggled with this and this. He talks about a goals meeting where we're going to try and win everything, and he's like, Jesus lads, and he says that, and that's allowed because that's his personality. And he got a bit of flack for that, and you're kind of like, well, he's just being honest, lads, and he's just being open. And I think that's, the more people like that, the better, I think, in the media, because it creates some good publicity about the game.
Yeah, totally agree. One last quick point on Lowe is just with that kind of non-European rule, he's obviously going to be in and out at times again, but he's been very selfless about that, and it seems to be very genuine. Like, I've never seen someone celebrate in their suit as kind of vigorous as he did after the Champions Cup final. He was bouncing around the place, and he seemed to really just be happy for his teammates. So a great guy to have in the Leinster environment.